I don't always play chess, but when I do, I blunder all my pieces. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I was trying to look like the, most interesting man in the world. Them Dos Equis commercials, man. They'd be funny. And they'd be putting people's face on them and everything. That's my version. Because I have been known to blunder a piece or two. Out the clear blue. I don't know why. Anyways, man. So we do have the Chess 960 going on. And this is the first game between Wesley and Nepomniachtchi. So I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. But yeah, as you guys know, this is Chess 960, so that's why the board looks kind of messed up. This is position number 1. There's actually a 000 position, and then this is 001. So, I don't know why they number it that way, but whatever. Anyways, for all my people coming from the Philippines, I will say mabuhay to you. Kamusta na aking makaibigan, magandang umaga, magandang kapon. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Maraming salamat aking makaibigan. Much appreciated. And anybody who is coming from Russia, I will say privyet to you. Dobre otra, kakadela, and spasibo for coming by and taking a look at my stuff. I appreciate it so very much. But man, if you guys are ready to go, homie, let's take a look, see what we got for this game, son. So we got knight to G3. That's something you don't hear every day. We got the move F6. We got knight to B3. We got E5. And then we have the move D4. So, both players attacking in the center. The knights are kind of, protecting at least a little bit in the center. Even though the pieces are set up kind of weird, you still do kind of want to influence the center as much as you can. So we do see the move knight to B6. We got the move E4. And so, white just kind of has the ideal center going on at the moment. We do see G6. You want to kind of get these bishops out at some point. So G6 just trying to get that happening. So we do see the move F3. We got knight to F7. We got the move D5, and then we have the really nice bishop to H6 with check. It's not that it's very nice, but it's like, it's a super logical square to put it on, man. You're just checking, seeing what white wants to do. So we do see the move bishop to D2. We got queen down to G7. We got the move C4. And you absolutely do not want to allow this move to come because either you're going to be really lonely in the corner or you are going to go down here and just completely hang your knight after the move bishop to B5. So we do see the move D6. We got C5 anyways. They're like, bro, I don't even care about your pawn. Pawn takes C5, knight takes C5. We do have bishop to D7. We got the move A4. Of course, the board looks really, really strange. You wouldn't really normally see these moves transpiring, but because it's Chess 960, everything is not 100% completely the same as would be in a normal game. Especially the fact that this king is like completely wide open, right? Look at all these squares around this king, bro. That's craziness, right? So we do see the move knight to D6. We got B3. We got short castles by black. We do have queen to F2. We got the move F5. Trying to open some things up. Trying to take advantage of this pin that we have here on the queen because of the rook. We got the move A5. Move your knight, homie. Get it out the way, son. Bishop takes D2 a check. Queen takes D2. And we do have knight B back to C8. And really, if only the queen was gone, bro, because, man, this is a really nice fork, see, right here with a bishop, man. Tasty. Bishop does come to D3. We got pawn takes E4, bishop takes E4, and then we do see knight taking E4 and then knight G taking E4. At the moment, until this pawn does capture, this isn't absolutely the best bishop because we do have pawns on pretty much all the light squares. So, this bishop doesn't really have a whole lot of life in it anyway. So, that's why you kind of see bishop taking E4. It makes a little bit more sense. We've got this position here. Knight comes down to D6, trying to disrupt. As I showed you guys last game, these knights are trying to kind of hold each other, like prop each other up. So, this knight swings down into D6, trying to, offset that as much as possible. We do see knight over to G5. We do see queen over to E7. We definitely are trying to hold this bishop, because the queen being on that particular square is not nice because knight coming to either knight coming to E6 was going to be a problem. So we do see short castles by white. Now, to go back to this castling thing, because I think that some of you guys are seeing that this king flew all the way to G1. You're like, wait a minute, like, how do you even do that? Well, the thing about it is this. White does not have the ability to castle long at the moment because this rook is actually in the way. But all of these spaces over here are completely clear, so you do have the ability to castle kingside. Now, I was telling you guys before that when you do castle either kingside or queenside, you do end up having the king and the rook in the same exact position either way. So if we see kingside castling, we see the rook and the king did adopt their actual squares that they go to. And the same thing would be over here. If you like swung this rook over to E1, then these two squares would be clean. So just to give you guys an example, if we did, well, if I can just move the rook on its own, and then maybe let's say, for example, we just play a random move, right? Then you would see. You see how now you can castle queenside. So that is kind of like, you know, the issue. Of course, you still have pretty much all the same rules that apply. You know, you have to make sure that neither the king or the rook has moved. You need to make sure that everything is clear going back, because we didn't have that. And you also have to make sure that the king does not pass through an attack square. That is something I didn't mention before. So if you did have a bishop kind of coming down this way, the king cannot pass through that square. So it's all the general castling stuff, but it does look super weird because, I mean, check it out, bro. That's weird, son. It just looks, that's like the king is flying across the board. It's crazy. But anyways, we do see the move knight to f5. We got a rook b to c1. Then we have a knight down to d4. And this can be just a little bit inconvenient for white because that knight is really, really beautifully placed. So we do see rook f to e1. I mean, we're thinking at some point maybe we take this knight here, exploit this pin on the queen. So the queen does come down to d6, and now we don't have none of that going on. We got knight taking d7, queen taking d7, and then we do see queen over to c3. We got rook down to f5, making sure that we kind of protect this pawn and also attack the knight. So we do see knight to e6. We got the move c6. Knight takes d4, pawn takes d4, and queen takes d4. And we think, man, we got like a pawn, right? Kinda. No, we don't. Why you got to be in my face, bro? Like that rook is like, bro, the queen is not doing nothing in this game, son. But we go ahead and take on a7 with this pawn. And we got rook over to e8. We got the move a6, taking advantage of, I mean, the pawn's not really pinned because the queen is defended. So we do see rook down to e1 with check. The rook takes on e1, and then we do see rook down to d1. Black is like, bro, I want to trade as many pieces as possible, even though the crazy thing is, it really doesn't benefit black that much to trade because, I mean, you are down a pawn in the particular situation. And, I mean, you are threatening possibly taking this pawn and creating a check on b8. So you got to be kind of careful, homie. So the queen does go to b8 with check. The king goes down to f7. We do see queen to f4 with check. The king slides over to g7. And then we do see queen to e5 with check. King goes to f7. Queen back to f4. King back to g7. Queen to e5 with check. King goes back to f7. And we got to make sure that we do not repeat. Because white is actually very much in the driver's seat of this position. We do not want to give that up. So we do see now the pawn taking b7 over there, making sure that we no 3-4 repetitions over here, homie. The rook takes e1, and then we do see queen taking e1, queen taking b7. And then we have a really nice queen to e3. And I mean, we kind of got a pawn. And I mean, this white queen is exactly where you want it to be to make sure. So that's one of the things that you will see going into this endgame is white is making sure that they make the best moves possible to make sure that they hold their position tight because they do have a really nice position. The queen goes to d7. We see queen up to f4 with check. King goes to g8. And then we do see king going to f2. We got the move h5. And we got h4, homie. We freezing your pawns in place, dog. Like, your pawns ain't going nowhere, son. So, you know, white is actually kind of trying to put black in a Zugzwang. The only thing about it is it's really hard to do when the player has a queen. So, and then for those of you out here that think this might be an endgame, I would consider this an endgame personally. So, you know, I know that I'm going to have somebody out there that's going to ask that question. So, yes, I feel like we are in an endgame. The king goes to h7. We see the pawn going up to b4. And you see that this queen, like I said, this queen is protecting this pawn. It's protecting this pawn. It's protecting the king. You cannot check on this square or this square. So everything is being held down pretty nice. Slight edge for black. Not like it's winning, but it's nice. The queen does go to a7, and then we do see queen to e3. White would love to trade in this position because this is 1000% one in game for white. But, of course, black is like, bro, I'm about to play the world championships, bro. Like, I don't suck that bad, homie. So the queen does go back over to d7. We see queen up to e4. We got queen down to d2 with check. We got king to g3, queen to d6 with check. We do see queen to f4 because, like I said, we do want to trade pieces. Like, if we can't do that, let's do it. The queen goes back to e7. We see queen to d4. Queen goes down to e1 with check. The king goes down to h2. Queen to e7. King up to h3. Queen to e6 with check. We got the move g4. Now, I am actually at this point going to stop like saying moves. I'm just going to kind of go through the moves. we have quite a few more moves to get through. So I'm not going to mention every single one of them. It gets kind of tough to, like, you know, call out every single square. So we do see pawn taking with check, pawn taking. We got queen down with check. We got king down to G2. We got queen down to A2. And we literally just have 1,000 checks coming up. So just moving through those, queen to B3 with check, king goes to F4, queen up here, the queen going back. And the major thing that we have to be paying attention to in this situation is that we are not repeating positions 3 times. Even though, I mean, we are fairly even in this particular situation. We try to trade again. Queen goes down to check, king goes down, queen goes down, and we are just continuing to check. And I mean, Nepo is actually kind of checking Wesley So to death here. So I'm really curious as to how, like, Wesley So did not, like, you know, fall out from exhaustion during this checking rampage that he's going on. The king goes up. We got check again. Queen going. The queen going. As you can see, white really wants to trade. And black's like, bro, I don't want to trade. I just want to check you forever, son. The queen goes back up. We do see repeats in positions, but we are making sure. And I honestly don't know how they prevented, you know, from literally, you know, repeating positions so many times, because I feel like they, I mean, it's looked very similar in many different ways. So we are starting to check as white now. The king goes over to H7. We do see queen to C3. Queen goes down. The king goes over. And we literally, as white, are saying, I'm going to shoot my king all the way to the queen side, bro. After the move queen to E4 G5, we got king back. We got queen up. And then the queen, like I said, just comes over. It says, bro, I'm going all the way over here to the queen side, son. And then we are just continuously checking. Queen goes up to D4. I want to trade, bro. No. Goes up, checks, no trades, no trades, no. Okay, so then we start to get a little bit of progress going. And this actually, in all the period that we have, has actually gone into a completely winning position for white. We do see the king up to G8. We got queen up to E8 with check. The king goes down to G7. Queen goes to E7 with check. We do see the king going up. And then we do see the queen going down. The king stepping over. It wasn't better to go down here because this queen is anchored by this pawn. So we are going to be winning this pawn no matter what. So Jan Nepo has definitely got himself in that type of position right now. So the king does step over to F8. We do see queen to F6 with check, king to E8. And now we have just wrangled one of the last remaining pawns away from black with check. So we are trying as white to get us into a position where we can force the queen trade, because if white is able to force a queen trade, they automatically win the game. The king goes down to D7. We got queen to D3 with check. And like I said, we are trying to get black in a position to where we can fork this king and this queen. So we do see the king stepping over to C7. We got G6 rolling because now there is nothing in the way of this pawn, homie. The queen goes down to G1. We see the pawn going up to H5, queen to G5. And then we do see queen going to F3. And like I said, the queen is literally holding down everything humanly possible. You know, we're making sure that when we push pieces that we have support that they need to live their best life. We do see king going down to B6. The major reason why we went down here is because we are looking at this check, and then pretty much there's not a whole lot you can do about these pawns pushing. We do see the king going to B6, queen to F2 with check. And then we do see king over to A6, queen up to C5. The queen goes down to G2. We do see queen going down to C4 with check, the king going to B6. The queen going to D4 with check, king to B7, and then we do see the move G7. And you can see that this black queen is really super limited on what exactly they can do. So the queen checks. I think it's a spite check at this point. Queen to F3 with check. The queen goes down to C3 like, bro, I'd love to trade. And I mean, of course, this pawn isn't just hanging because this is going to be queening. So we got to try to do something about that. So the queen does go to F7. And this queen needs to make sure that they hold this G7 pawn because that's kind of bread and butter. So the king just sidesteps over to A3 and says, bro, I'm not even tripping, dude. We do see the move C5. We got the move H6. Pawn takes B4 with check. King takes B4 with check. We do see the queen going to D5. The queen goes over to B3, offering a trade, but then also more importantly, making sure that we cover this queening square. And then the queen does come up to D6 with check. The king goes to C3 with check. And then we do see the move king to A7. And then we see the very highly crucial move. Queen goes to A4 with check. And it is in this position that Jan Nepomniachtchi resigns the game. And I know visually you can tell that white is winning the game. But like I said, the most important thing is white has always been looking for the fork of the king and the bishop, and we are the king and the queen, and we have found it now. The only moves that black can make with their king are these three squares. The only move that the queen can make is to this square. All of them result in a trade. Just to give you guys an example, if king went over to b7 or b8 or b6, you are going to be looking at queen to b4 with check, and this forces the trade of queens, whether you move the king here, if you do something like this, the queen takes and then king takes, and then we have this pawn promoting next move. Or if you just go ahead and just say, hey, bro, whatever, I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's all the same thing. And even if you didn't move these pawns still protect each other forever. That's another in-game concept that I've covered in other games, and I've covered it in my beginner series. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and check that out. But that is that game. It is a very, very long game. It was 106 moves. So forgive me that I sped up a little bit and I wasn't naming everything off. It does take a lot to mention 106 individual, actually 212 moves. Because if you're mentioning each side's move, that's 212 times you mention a move, man. So, whew, that's a lot, bro. So I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Meraming salamat aking makaibigan. Spasibo if you're coming from Russia, and I'll see you guys next time.